Erich von Däniken's Chariots of the Gods proposes that ancient monuments, artifacts, and technologies may be evidence of extraterrestrial visitors in the past. From the pyramid's alignment to advanced ancient tech, the clues suggest our ancestors may have worshipped beings from outer space. Now let's watch the film In Search of Ancient Astronauts by Alan Landsberg Productions, Xerox Films.
Space. An endless tapestry of stars reaching toward infinity. Scattered through its vastness are 100 billion planets on which life theoretically could exist. If only 1% of that life is intelligent, there could be 1 million civilizations out there. And of that million, it is conceivable that one discovered the secrets of space travel. It is possible that ancient astronauts went in search of life beyond their own world and found it on the planet Earth. The existence of other intelligent beings in the universe intrigued the men of tomorrow's science, the exobiologists, students of life in outer space. Dr. Harold P. Klein of NASA's Ames Research Center.
The knowledge that this kind of life that we know of on this planet is not the only one will have very profound influence, whether that other life is more advanced or less advanced than we are. The very knowledge that life can originate spontaneously will have, I believe, very profound effects on the thinking of man in terms of what he is and what his role is in the universe.
Now, it has been suggested by other people that maybe life on Earth was brought here by a visitor from another planet.
Dr. James Lawless.
While this possibility is remote, it certainly can't be excluded on the basis of the results which we have found.
If ancient astronauts did land here, what effect would they have had upon early Earthmen? Perhaps they were worshipped, feared, loved. Perhaps they brought gifts, a new world of knowledge, or simply the principle of the lever. If we accept the premise that beings from another civilization visited here ages ago, then some of the mysteries of our past take on a new and startling light. The Baghdad Museum in Iraq has on display a clay vase dating back before the birth of Christ. The vase is also a 2,000-year-old battery. A small copper tube is placed in the narrow neck, and a rod made of a metal alloy is inserted in the copper tube. When filled with hydrochloric acid, it produces an electric current. The vase was, it seems, a primitive galvanic cell battery. Count Volta is credited with having invented the electric cell 2,500 years later. Was the secret of electricity revealed to man thousands of years ago? Is it possible that this planet Earth has been visited by travelers from outer space? Did they wander through the throbbing light years of the universe in search of other life and find it here? There are places on this planet where life exists almost unchanged since antiquity. Less than 3 decades ago, machines descended from the skies to land on a remote region in the South Pacific. the primitive inhabitants were puzzled and frightened by the invasion. The visitors were light-skinned creatures who didn't hunt or fish, yet never lacked food. They came from heaven. They had to be gods. They were, in fact, American servicemen, sent to construct airfields and military installations during the Second World War. When the war was over, they went home, back into the skies. The natives began making straw and bamboo fetishes resembling airplanes. To this day, they scan the heavens day and night, watching and waiting for the return. A new religion, a new cult was born from the encounter between a primitive people and visitors from a highly developed, technically superior society. All men were at one time primitive. It is possible to imagine that our own forebears may well have reacted in the same way to visitors from outer space. The world is a storehouse, an archive of unexplained phenomena. Gigantic creations, in effigy of what? To appease or acclaim whom? Early stone carvers left silent records for their descendants, to tell us something, but not quite enough. Statues modeled after strange beings, statements to the scope of their awesome powers. Folk legend surrounds their origin. Strange stories of gods who appeared riding across the skies in flaming chariots of light. Whole civilizations were structured around these gods. Civilizations which at one time flourished and then mysteriously disappeared. Only stone relics survive to give mute testimony to their time. Their true history has been the cause of much scientific inquiry and romantic speculation. Erich von Däniken, a German professor possessed of the mind of a scientist and the imagination of a romantic, wrote a book called Chariots of the Gods. He stated that sometime in the distant past, man was visited by intelligent beings from outer space. What in olden times might have been heresy is today intriguing speculation. Von Däniken traveled to all corners of the world, gathering evidence in support of his theory. Or is it a theory? Judge for yourself. Istanbul, the city on the Golden Horn. Here stands the Palace of Topkapi. A curious set of maps are kept here, which were found in the Orient by the Turkish Admiral Reis. The oldest of these maps dates back to approximately the 1st century AD. They are most likely copies of still earlier maps. As astronauts high above Cairo, we would view the Earth in the configuration seen on the old maps. The outlines of the modern maps are the same as the pattern visible on the Reis charts. Another map in the collection shows a region which is still largely unexplored, the Antarctic. The existence of Antarctica as a continent was only established in the 19th century, and it wasn't even explored until 1911 by a Norwegian, Roald Amundsen. The map dates from 1532, a time when the techniques and basic equipment were unavailable to determine longitude. The question lingers. What was the source of information? The world's first great cities might have been constructed, according to von Däniken, under the supervision of the same being who offered instruction for making the maps of Reis. Teotihuacan lies on a broad, flat plain curtained by mountains in central Mexico. It was once the center of the highly advanced Aztec Empire. When the Spaniards arrived in the early 16th century, they found an established society of artisans and intellectuals. The name Teotihuacan means where the gods reside, and the city of the gods is dominated by the Pyramid of the Sun. It is 216 feet high and forms a small mountain weighing 2.5 million tons. The Aztecs worshipped the sun as the source of all life. They offered human sacrifices to the sun god atop stone pyramids marked with lithics, vague symbols relating the history of an ancient people. Archaeology seeks answers to questions about man's past by digging through what he has left behind. Here they uncovered a chain of riddles which stretches across the expanse of modern Mexico. A mile to the south is the Temple of Quetzalcoatl. Legend tells us that he was a light-skinned, bearded man who came from the stars. Supposedly, he taught men law, the arts, and the cultivation of corn. The head of a great feathered serpent represents the god Quetzalcoatl. When Quetzalcoatl finished his mission on Earth, he departed to his native star, promising to come back someday. It is a pervasive part of mythology that gods fly to the stars with a pledge to return. The strain runs through all folklore. The ruins of the deserted city of Tula rest about 20 miles from Teotihuacan. It was one of the cities supposedly linked in legend to a ladder hung in the sky. Monumental sculptures stand as silent watch over the remains, guardians of an eternal mystery. They appear to be warriors, dressed alike, wearing unusual helmets. They carry some sort of box-like unit on their chests. Perhaps they are weapons or communications equipment. Unrecognizable tools or controls are clasped in their hands. The nearby sacred well of Cenote forms a perfectly round crater in the rock. It is unlikely that it could have been formed naturally or by human excavation. It does, however, resemble a crater made by the exhaust gases of a very powerful rocket engine. To the east of Cenote is the ancient Mayan city of Chichen Itza. About 600 AD, the entire Mayan population fled northward. There is no trace of war, plague, or famine to account for the move. Outstanding astronomers, Mayans calendared the year by constructing a central pyramid with 365 steps. They also developed a formula to predict eclipses without ever knowing about the revolution of the Earth, Moon, and Sun. There is no way of telling how they discovered these secrets, but von Däniken believes that some ancient astronaut may have told them of the solar system in which they lived. A stone relief portrays a god in a helmet with projections resembling antennae. The Mayans named their patron Kukulkan. In every 6,000 years, the Mayan calendar is off by only one day. Such was the gift of Kukulkan. Kukulkan supposedly came from the stars and returned to them, leaving the Mayans to build observatories to search the heavens for him. Perhaps with our modern observatories and telescopes, we are still searching for Kukulkan and Quetzalcoatl, who deserted to ancient skies. Modern science examines the heavens in search of information. Data, according to Dr. Werner von Braun, that gives us perspective on our own brief existence in the firmament.
I think it is important to remember that distant stars are not only far away from us in terms of miles, but life on other planets can also be very far away from us in terms of time. The Earth is believed to be approximately 5 billion years old, and if you condense mentally these 5 billion years into 1 year, then the presence of men on this Earth would be about 1 minute out of that 1 year, and the period since man understood radio and was capable of effectively communicating with heavenly bodies outside of the Earth would only be approximately 1 second out of that year. So if you want to communicate with another heavenly body and intelligent life thereon, you have to reach that other heavenly body also at a time when these people have invented the radio and know how to operate it and have their receivers going, so to speak.
But we had no receivers going, even a mere 50 years ago. We were too busy with the steam engine and the biplane. Dr. Harold Klein.
It is highly possible that advanced civilizations have in the past, or may in the present, try or have tried to contact us, to survey us, to watch us. We cannot rule that out. We have no indications of that. It may be equally possible that a really intelligent society has watched us for some time, has looked us over and decided, based on our activities, that this planet is beneath their dignity, so to speak, and is simply not worth bothering with.
Quite possibly we were too backward to bother with, but we have come a long way in a short time, and we are prepared to reach out into the universe. Writer and sociologist Erich suggests a reason for our return to space. He wrote, "I always felt that man is a stranger on this planet, a total stranger. I always played with the fancy, maybe a contagion from outer space is the seed of man. Hence our prior occupation with heaven, with the sky, with the stars, the gods, somewhere out there in outer space. It is a kind of homing impulse. We are drawn to where we came from." In the 7th decade of the 20th century, the landscape of the moon became familiar. Man went to the moon on his first mission in search of life. With him, he had to take his own life support system. He was encased in a portable environment, susceptible to deadly radiation. If space travelers from another planet were to visit Earth, they too might find the environment hostile, if not deadly. They too would have to travel as self-contained units. But whatever their basic forms, in appearance they may have resembled modern astronauts. On a rocky ledge in the Sahara Desert is a drawing estimated to have been painted there over 15,000 years ago. If not an astronaut, then what is this floating apparition? Henri Loti, the early French archaeologist, discovered the image of the 19-foot giant and called him the great god Mars. Across the Mediterranean, at Valcominica, near Brescia, Italy, rock paintings have tried to tell their story since before recorded time. They are portrayals of strange beings in bulky overalls. Their helmets seem to carry antennae. In their hands are clasped some manner of tool or weapon. Still more evidence can be found in a 2,000-year-old rock painting found in Japan. In the rough, rocky countryside of northwest Australia, there are scores of rock paintings which date back far in time. Drawings which are probably some of the earliest messages from prehistoric man. Sketches represent the activities of one Gina, a legendary goddess of the Milky Way. She too came from heaven to instruct the children of Earth. Von Däniken believes there were models, possibly even one model for all the deities found recorded in rock. The mysteries of the past manifest themselves on all continents. Within the depths of a temple in the ancient Mayan city of Palenque in Central America, Von Däniken came upon a stone relief of what is apparently a man seated in a capsule, watching something intently. His hand seemed to be operating some undefinable controls. His foot pressing a lever. And at the rear of the capsule are jets trailing flames behind them. He seems to be dressed for the job, in trousers with a broad belt, a sort of jacket, tight-fitting at the wrists. The chair is well upholstered to absorb the shock of acceleration. Mayan legend says that he represents their space-traveling god, Kukulkan, the winged god of Palenque. He was carved sometime in the 7th century. The possibility haunts us that this figure was the artist's rendering of the ancient astronauts who inspired the Mayan culture. The church of the monastery of Däniken was decorated with mysterious frescoes some 500 years ago. The monastery is hidden away in the peaceful countryside of southern Yugoslavia. High above the chapel, almost out of sight, the fresco silently challenges our minds with its startling story. It depicts what may have been the first air battle to be witnessed by man, almost 500 years before the known discovery of flight. In the first capsule, a man is seated with his hand on some form of guidance mechanism. He appears to be racing across the sky in an attempt to escape from a pursuing ship. We can easily imagine jets at the rear of these aerodynamic forms. On the earth below them, people cower in fear as this air battle wages in the skies. If not an astronaut, then what reality might have inspired the frescoes of Däniken? Myths, legends, legacies of ancient man have not all been lost in ambiguous reference. History is the scribe of man. There are records in cuneiform, Sanskrit, Amharic, Tibetan, and languages which have not yet even been deciphered. New texts are constantly being discovered. Some, like the Dead Sea Scrolls, are readily understandable to scholars. Translating other fragments of written history is laborious and time-consuming. Only a minute fraction of surviving texts have actually been transcribed. Accounts of godlike visitors abound. For example, in the books of the Tibetan Kanchur. The Kanchur consists of over 1,000 volumes containing the holy texts of Lamaism. Their secret code is the most complex ever devised. To date, only 1/100th of the conjure has been deciphered. The resulting translations are full of references to gods appearing in the sky, of the luminous pearls and transparent spheres in which they lived. Once the books have been further deciphered, they may well yield much more information about mysterious space visitors. Closer to Western civilization, we have one of the world's most detailed records, the Bible. The Bible says that the Lord caused to rain upon Sodom and Gomorrah brimstone and fire. God sent his messengers to warn Lot's family of impending disaster. The angels told Lot, "Flee for your life. Do not look back. Flee to the hills lest you be consumed." The messengers were insistent that he leave the city immediately. Von Däniken wondered if they had foreknowledge of an impending cataclysmic explosion. It appears certain that Sodom and Gomorrah were leveled, laid waste at a single stroke. All traces of the communities have disappeared. So complete was the destruction. The report of the catastrophe ends. Then he looked down and beheld, and lo, the land went up like the smoke of a furnace.
This controversial idea challenges our understanding of human history. Next time you see an ancient wonder, consider the possibility of an alien civilization's influence. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more updates on history documentary videos.